Hi, I'm Will from MusicTech. Welcome to Plugin Preview. Today we're looking at a brand new plugin from Slate Digital called Fresh Air. Now, Fresh Air is an exciter plugin based on the Dolby Type A trick. This comes from the Dolby Type A noise reduction system that was developed in the 1960s for recording to analog tape. It adds subtle compression and boosts the level of your high mids and your high frequencies, so it brings out detail that's already there. The interface is super straightforward. We've got two bands, the mid-air band, which, if it follows the Dolby Type A, will be high-passed at about 3K. We have the high-air band, which is overlapping, also a high-passed version of the signal, compressed, but high-passed at about 9K, in theory. Our meter shows a ball and stripe. The ball is the average level, and the stripe is the peak level. We also have a link button here. This is the bypass. Here's the link. And what that does is it connects our mid-air band and our high-air band. So we can decide the relationship between the two and then blend them in more or less. Our first example is a lead vocal. This is Angelina Dove and a group called Snow Hill, and I'll play it first in context with Fresh Air disabled.
Feel so good in my skin, comfortable from within.
Now, to my ear, that sounds a little bit lacking in top end, but let's see what we can do with Fresh Air. So I'm just going to loop it around a couple of times.
Feel so good in my skin.
So that's adding mid-air.
Comfortable from within.
We're starting to get back a little bit more of the breathiness to it, and what you can hear in the S sounds specifically is that those are starting to come back a little bit. When I start adding some high air, you'll hear what I mean.
Feel so good in my skin, comfortable.
Let's hear it with Fresh Air bypassed.
Feel so good.
And with the plugin enabled.
Feel so good in my skin.
It needs a little bit more high air, I think.
Comfortable from within. I make the footprints you walk in.
At nearly 70% engaged, that sounds pretty nice. I quite like that. Let's try just maxing it out and seeing what happens. This is a stem, so this has already been compressed and it's already been EQ'd. So let's bear that in mind before we start worrying about it getting too brittle.
Feel so good in my skin, comfortable.
That's too much, but let's take it back.
Feel so good in my skin, comfortable from within. I make the footprints you walk in.
I'm pretty happy with that. So let's come up to this pre-chorus and see whether we can do something different with the vocal group.
I make the footprints you walk in. So run away to the willow trees.
To my mind, that's feeling a little bit dull now. It's lacking a little bit of top end. That's probably because we've added a whole load of top end to the previous section. Let's put some of this mid air in and see where we get to.
So run away to the willow trees. Read storybooks in Japanese. I'll try the dress you'll never know. Talk like a princess and they will follow. And the wild rain will fall. And the wild rain.
I'm not quite sure about the relationship between the high mid and the high frequency band, so let's try switching to the snapshot B. Snapshot A is what we had already, so we've still got that, that's safe. Let's go to snapshot B and see if we can try something a bit different. So I'm going to try and overcook the mid-air and not worry too much about the high. So as I ramp up the mid-air, you will hear in this B snapshot that it'll be more present and the A snapshot will be more breathy. So I'm going to flip between them as I go.
So run away to the willow trees. Read storybooks in Japanese.
I'm going to flip back
I'll
to
try
A.
the dress you'll never know.
B.
Talk like a princess and they will follow. And the wild rain will fall. And the wild rain will fall.
I mean, it's a matter of opinion. I think I prefer a little bit less of the high air for this vocal, because otherwise you start to hear too much of that very top harmony, which is very, very breathy. But you can try pretty extreme settings and it works. Next, we're going to try fresh air on a drum machine. So let's hear what it can do, because there are some presets here that suggest that you can hone in on different areas of the drum kit. So the hat lifter, for instance, let's try that. It should give us a little bit more hat action. Let's try it without first, and on the second pass, I'll introduce it. It's a bit too much for my liking, I'm going to bring it back. It certainly adds a little bit more bite, a bit more presence. And let's try clap lifter, see if that does anything for our claps. We'll try it first without and then with. I can certainly hear those claps coming through more clearly now. Another place you can use fresh air, the exciter plugin, the Dolby-A trick, is on the mix bus. And this is because the Dolby-A method was actually used by some mastering engineers, some on purpose, some not on purpose, to make things brighter. And what you can do is you can have it on your master output for the whole thing, just to give your track a little bit more oomph, or you can try what I'm going to do here, which is I've automated the level of the mid-air and the high air to come in just as we hit the chorus. So I'm going to play it without first off, just to give you a sense of what you're not getting, and then I'll play it with.
Ride the dress you'll never know. Talk like a princess and they will follow. And the wild rain will fall. And the wild rain will fall.
here it is the second time round with the lift for the chorus, and it's only going up to about 50 to 20% on each of the bands, but just keep an eye on the automation and see if you can tell the difference.
Ride the dress, you'll never know. Talk like a princess, and they will follow. And the white rain will fall. And the white rain will
It's subtle, not that subtle. I think it adds something in the chorus, so I'm going to leave that there. The final use case we're going to check out is for podcasting. Now, when we're recording the MusicTech My Forever Studio podcast, I use a dynamic mic, a Rode pod mic. And my co-host, Chris Barker, he uses a condenser. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the two sounds to be broadly similar. But if you just chuck on an EQ, doesn't always work. So let's try it with fresh air instead and see if we can match those sounds. This is something that if you've got a podcast, and everybody has these days, you might want to try it on one of your guests, for instance. You might, if they're using a dynamic mic and you're recording with a condenser, then you might want to try this on them. So let's see if we can get in the ballpark at least. We're going to play Chris's voice first, and then we're going to follow that with a portion of my voice.
Joining us next time is ornithological dance icon Claude Von Stroke.
If you're enjoying the podcast, make sure you subscribe using your favourite podcasting app and give us a glowing review and a 5-star rating. So those are quite different sounds, quite different tones. What we're going to do is slowly introduce a little bit of mid and high air on this. We're going to use linked bands and see if we can make it more of a family sound. So let's have a listen. If you're enjoying the podcast, make sure you subscribe using your favourite podcasting app and give us a glowing review and a 5-star rating.
Joining us next time is ornithological dance icon Claude Von Stroke.
If you're enjoying the podcast, make sure you subscribe using your favourite podcasting app and give us a glowing review. Yeah, I think that's a bit closer actually. It's not, I don't want to go overboard with it because I don't want it to sound insane. But I think that this can actually really help us with our podcast production. So that's fun. There you have it. That's Fresh Air from Slate Digital, available now to download for free. If you want more videos like this, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe link. Make sure you hit the notification bell as well. On our YouTube channel, we've also got ever-growing courses in Ableton Live, Logic Pro X, and more. So keep your eyes peeled there. Also, if you want the latest news, reviews, features, and techniques, visit musictech.net. Thanks for watching. I've been Will Betts. This was Plugin Preview. Goodbye.